Okay, Brewer, you buying this? Nickler is giving takes. I missed a lot of the quote.
I'm buying it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, but
In practice, and Coach knows this, you experiment. You can't go out there in the game and experiment, so you experiment in practice. And guess what? It is not just Brock Purdy. All right, Josh Allen, who top 5 quarterback, threw 3 interceptions in a practice last week. Lamar Jackson, this was as of Monday. Who knows what havoc has been wrought in the last few days in Ravens practice. But as of Monday, he had thrown 4 interceptions to Marlon Humphrey. That's just one player. He had been picked off by 4 times, and Lamar joked about it. I'm just trying to help Marlon with his catching ability. Yeah. So no one takes practice interceptions seriously except Nick Wright.
No,
even the Prince, who Nick loves and champions, because the Prince has had a rough start to this training camp. Look at this tweet. This is from one of the reporters. Just stop practice. Trevor picked by Trayvon Walker on what looked to be a deflection. This has Bortles 5 interception practice vibes.
How many picks did he throw?
I don't know, but it reminded people of Blake Bortles.
Okay. Reminded of
Anytime you're compared to Blake Bortles, it ain't good.
Right, so
I'm just saying, let's just relax.
I knew, because I've worked with Brew for so long, that but without me even talking, he was going to say something he said, which is Nick Wright is the only person who cares about this, which is why when we first discussed it, I brought up the Sports Illustrated article, and then this morning in prepping for this, I was like, what about a national football reporter that we all respect? What about the owner and operator of Pro Football Talk? Has he written about this? And it turns out this morning, he wrote the following. It's trial and error, but he's making a lot of errors when he's trying something different. That's the real concern. These experiments are blowing up in his face. 7 interceptions in the first 2 padded practices of training camp are just too damn many. The performances could temper Purdy's stated goal to be dominant this year. He's like the golfer who's been generating solid scores by laying up and who shows up one day and decides he's going to play Tiger Woods in his prime. And then on the first 2 holes, he sprays every big swing into the water and the woods. End quote. So
I had not read Florio since he said Andy Reid was retired.
Listen.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm just saying. I'm saying. I didn't see that one.
So here's the thing, that you can disagree with it. You can think that it's nothing. I'm very curious what the Goldilocks zone of good amount of interceptions is, because if throwing picks is good, right, because it means you're experimenting. I assume then the quarterbacks who have thrown 0, that's a bad thing. But 30 would probably be too many. But maybe 7's enough. But 12 is concerning. I'm not sure. Maybe we can chart it out. But the point I have been trying to make is the trajectory of Brock Purdy giving his first ever, that I had seen, chest out interview about what I'm going to become. And I don't want to misquote him, but evoked the name of Tom Brady and said, it's just what he did, and said last year when we had big leads, took my foot off the gas, and I want to step on their throats. And then the next practice throws a hat trick of interceptions. And then the next practice, which are the first 2 padded practices of the year, throws 4 in 7 throws with 2 other ones dropped. To me, it's a noteworthy data point. And evidently, Grant Cohn of Sports Illustrated, Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk agree. So we can say it's just Nick Wright being a bad guy, or it is a noteworthy data point in evaluating what we're going to get from Purdy this year.
I want to disagree with everybody in a lot of different ways. Brew, I was with you on a lot of it until you said that nobody really cares about the interceptions in practice. We would actually chart it. We had a scoreboard up on the lift where we filmed from that kept track of interceptions, fumbles, batted balls, altered throws, everything that went into ball disruption. And after every period, we'd have the cameraman scan. So both the offensive and defensive side could see who was winning the battle in that throughout the course of practice. So those things are incredibly important, and we do track them. So and there's nothing more disruptive to a game than a turnover. So that part is absolutely true. With Florio, comparing it to Tiger Woods and the extra emphasis that he gave to it, I think that's a little bit too aggressive at this point early in training camp. That's a little too much. Is it a concern? Yeah, it's a concern if it's a continuing pattern that shows up. But where I also think it's important to understand is you do want to take this time to work on things that you're weak at. And it's harder for guys who aren't established to do that because in training camp they have to make the team. He's made the team, he's had a level of success, and you're actually encouraging guys to go out and work on things that they aren't good at. And it's hard to get pro athletes to do that because everybody wants to look good, and everybody wants to look good in front of a crowd, and everybody wants to look good in front of reporters so they don't have to deal with people talking about it. So to have the courage and conviction to go try new things is actually a sign of strength and maturity.
I love that.
Boom.
I
Now,
totally agree,
now,
Coach.
now if it becomes an ongoing pattern, then that is problematic. You want to experiment, but not to the nutty professor level. Like so there is a balance that comes into play. And is it the biggest deal in the world? He's had one game where he threw 4 interceptions. Okay, that was the Baltimore game last year. There's a lot of quarterbacks that have thrown a ton of interceptions in the game. Peyton Manning had 6 in the game at one point. There's multiple quarterbacks with 5 interception games, 6 interception games, even 7 interceptions games. He hasn't had any of those things. So should he take chances? Absolutely. Should he try to get better at areas of weakness? Absolutely. If this becomes a pattern, is it a concern? Absolutely, but we're not there.
I don't. Go ahead.
I just heard Brew was right, Nick was wrong.
Okay, well
I think that's summarizing
definitively
what
not
Coach
what he said. But so I want to be clear. I am not saying this is everything. I'm not saying the sky is falling. And I said at the beginning of the week, and I will say again, I think Brock Purdy's the most interesting player in the league this year because he has the bird in hand of, if I just color between the lines, don't take chances, I am this offseason going to get generational wealth, a long-term deal. I will not really get to see how great I can be, but you know what? I have a long career to go figure that out. Or he can say, you know what? I think I can be one of the best players in the league. Look at my resume through a year and a half compared to anyone else. I'm going to go show the world. I desperately hope he goes down that road. And I might end up looking like the wrongest man in America. But it's the only way we're going to get actual information. Because with this level of talent, if they're healthy, this offense is a little, not calling Purdy this, like idiot-proof. Like if you're an NFL starting caliber quarterback with this talent and this scheme.
Didn't they get rid of a guy that was drafted number 3 overall?
Trey Lance couldn't handle it.
So is it that?
Every starting caliber quarterback that has played for Kyle Shanahan has had success. Sure. Everyone. Trey has not proven to be that. Hoyer and Nick Mullins have not proven to be that. Jimmy G, who the moment he got out of the cocoon is close to out of the league.
Level of success.
And he didn't have this level of talent around him. Agreed. And
he had a ton of talent.
Okay.
We can't.
We
can't do the Jimmy G thing.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.